Starting a lawn from bare ground is one of those projects that looks straightforward until you are 3 weeks in and staring at patchy, uneven results that are already being overtaken by weeds. The difference between a lawn that comes in thick and even and one that comes in thin and disappointing is almost never the seed. It is the preparation that happened before the seed went down. Professional turf growers follow a specific sequence of steps that most homeowners either skip, rush through, or do in the wrong order. In this video, I am going to walk you through 10 rules that cover every stage of starting a new lawn from scratch, from clearing the ground on day 1 to the moment you make your first cut. If you follow all 10 in the right order, the results will be exactly what you are picturing when you look at that bare ground. If you skip any of them, the problem you create will be significantly harder to fix after the seed is in than it would have been to prevent. Let's go through all 10. If you want the full lawn care system with soil prep guides, regional seeding calendars, weed management by grass type, and a month-by-month maintenance plan all in one place, my ebook has everything you need. The link is in the description. Now, let's get into the 10 rules. Rule 1. Destroy every weed before you touch the soil. The most expensive mistake you can make when starting a new lawn is tilling the existing ground without first eliminating the weeds that are already growing in it. Tilling over weeds does not kill them. It cuts their root systems into smaller pieces and distributes those pieces throughout the soil, and many common weed species regenerate from root fragments. You do not just carry the problem into the new lawn, you multiply it. Weeds need to be fully eliminated before any soil work begins. There are several effective approaches, depending on what you are dealing with. Solarization, which involves covering the area with clear plastic sheeting during the hottest weeks of summer and leaving it in place for 6 to 8 weeks, uses heat buildup to kill both surface weeds and the seed bank in the upper soil layer. For deep-rooted perennial weeds like bindweed, nutsedge, or thistle, manual removal with a spade that extracts the entire root system is the most reliable method. Cutting the top growth off without getting the root guarantees regrowth. Whatever method you choose, the goal is the same. When you start tilling and seeding, the ground underneath you should contain no living weed roots and no viable weed seeds in the upper soil layer. Taking the time to do this correctly before anything else saves you from fighting weeds in the new lawn for the next several years. Identifying which specific weeds you are dealing with and choosing the right elimination method is something I break down in detail in my lawn care ebook by weed type and region. The link is in the description. Let's keep going with Rule 2. Rule 2. Test your soil before adding anything to it. Before you add sand, fertilizer, lime, or any other amendment to the soil, you need to know what is already in it. Skipping a soil test and going straight to amending is like taking medication without knowing what is wrong. You may accidentally make conditions worse. A basic soil test measures pH and the existing levels of major nutrients including nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Grass grows best in a soil pH range of roughly 6 to 7. Below that range, the soil is too acidic and nutrients become chemically unavailable to the grass, even if they are physically present. Above that range, the soil becomes too alkaline and creates similar problems. A soil test will tell you whether you need to add lime to raise pH, sulfur to lower it, or whether the pH is already in the correct range and requires no adjustment. Soil tests are inexpensive, widely available through university extension services, and take about a week to return results. The few dollars and the week of waiting save you from making amendments that do nothing useful or that actively work against what you are trying to grow. Once you have the test results in hand, you know exactly what the soil needs and can add only what is necessary. Rule 3. Fix soil structure before you till. Soil structure determines how well water moves through the ground, how deep roots can grow, and how effectively nutrients reach those roots. Compacted soil is one of the primary reasons lawns thin out and weeds take over, because grass roots cannot penetrate deeply enough to sustain the plant through heat and drought stress. If the soil at the site cracks visibly during dry summer weather, or if a screwdriver pushed into it stops within an inch or two, the structure needs to be addressed before seeding. The most effective way to loosen compacted soil when starting a new lawn from scratch is to incorporate sand before tilling. Sieved or quartz sand works best because of its consistent particle size. As a general guideline for a site that will be tilled before seeding, spread 3 to 5 centimeters of sand, roughly 1.5 to 2 inches, across the entire area, and then till it in so it mixes evenly through the upper soil layer, rather than sitting as a distinct layer beneath the surface. A distinct sand layer underneath loam or clay acts as a drainage barrier rather than improving structure. Even mixing through tilling is what produces the looser, better draining soil profile that grass roots thrive in. Rule 4. Till to the right depth. Tilling too shallow leaves the roots of your new lawn confined to a thin layer of loose soil sitting on top of a compacted base. When that thin layer dries out during summer heat, the shallow root system has nowhere to go, and the lawn browns quickly. Tilling too deep brings up subsoil that is lower in organic matter and nutrients, and can actually create problems for germination. The correct tilling depth for a new lawn is a minimum of 6 inches, with 8 to 12 inches being the optimal range. At that depth, roots can establish far enough into the ground to access moisture and nutrients during dry periods. During tilling, remove everything that comes up that is not soil. Stones, roots, debris from old vegetation, and clumps of dead organic matter all need to come out. A small bucket carried alongside the tiller makes this efficient. Running the tiller through the area more than once in different directions produces a more uniformly loosened soil profile than a single pass, and is worth the extra time. The quality of the finished seedbed is directly related to how thoroughly this step is done. Rule 5. Feed the soil at the right stage. The stage just after tilling and before rolling is the best possible moment to add fertilizer to a new lawn, and most homeowners miss it entirely. When fertilizer is worked into the soil at this stage, it distributes evenly through the root zone rather than sitting on the surface where it is subject to runoff and uneven absorption. The fertilizer most appropriate for this stage is a starter fertilizer, or an organic option with meaningful phosphorus content. Phosphorus drives root development in the earliest phase of a plant's life, which is exactly what you need, from germination through the first several weeks of establishment. Chemical fertilizers formulated primarily for established turf are high in nitrogen and relatively low in phosphorus, which makes them less useful and potentially harmful at the seeding stage. High nitrogen applied to a seedbed can create salt stress conditions that damage emerging seedlings. Organic options such as pelleted composted manure provide a balanced nutrient profile along with organic matter that improves soil biology over time. Apply the fertilizer after tilling and before rolling, rake it into the top few inches of soil so it incorporates evenly, and then proceed to leveling and rolling. At this stage you have access to the full soil depth. After seeding, you do not. Rule 6. Level carefully and remove everything that does not belong. Bumps, depressions, and debris left in the seedbed do not disappear after the grass comes in. They remain as permanent features of the lawn surface that become harder to correct with each passing season. Take the time during the leveling stage to produce a surface that is as flat and clean as you can get it. Large clumps of soil that did not break down during tilling should be broken apart or removed. Any stones, roots, or debris surfaced during tilling that were not caught earlier should come out now. Low spots need to be filled and compacted slightly to match the surrounding grade. High spots need to be leveled down. Walking across the surface during leveling helps identify soft spots where settling is likely and gives you the opportunity to firm those areas before rolling. The top layer of soil, the final 1 to 2 inches, should be finely broken down and free of clumps large enough to create gaps under the seed. Seed that sits over a gap in the soil surface does not make contact with the soil below it and will not germinate reliably. Fine, crumbly, clean topsoil is the target for that final surface layer. Rule 7. Roll at the right weight and in the right pattern. Rolling compacts the prepared seedbed to a density that supports consistent seed-to-soil contact and removes air pockets that cause uneven settling after germination. However, rolling too aggressively recreates the compaction problem you work to eliminate during tilling, and an overcompacted seedbed is nearly as bad as an unprepared one for root development. The weight of the roller should be kept to a maximum of around 100 kilograms, or approximately 220 pounds. A heavier roller pushed into freshly tilled soil will compress it to a point where water and air movement through the soil profile is restricted. Roll in 2 directions, once lengthwise across the area and once across the width, to produce uniform compaction across the full surface. Push the roller in front of you, rather than pulling it behind you, to avoid leaving irregular impressions in the finished surface. Areas along edges and corners that the roller cannot reach should be firmed with foot pressure. After rolling, check for any depressions or high spots that became visible during the pass, and correct them with a rake before making a final light roll over the repaired areas. Rule 8. Choose the right seed and sow at the right rate grass. Seed selection based on climate zone is the foundation of a lawn that stays thick long-term without constant intervention. Cool season grasses, including tall fescue, Kentucky bluegrass, and perennial ryegrass, are suited to the northern half of the country and grow most actively in the cooler temperatures of spring and fall. Warm season grasses, including Bermuda, zoysia, and St. Augustine, are built for the southern states and thrive during summer heat. Planting the wrong category for your climate means working against the regional weather pattern in every season the lawn is growing. Seed blends that contain multiple compatible varieties within the correct climate category provide better overall resilience than single variety plantings because different varieties within a blend handle shade, drought, and wear differently. On seeding rate, the most common mistake is applying seed too thinly. Thin seeding creates gaps in coverage, and those gaps are where weeds establish. Seed at the full recommended rate for the species or blend you are using, which is typically found on the bag label per 1,000 square feet. Apply seed in 2 passes, 1 pass in each direction across the area, to achieve even distribution and full coverage without missing sections or doubling up on others. Rule 9. Plant at the right depth and roll one final time grass. Seed planted too deep cannot push its shoot to the surface before it runs out of the energy stored in the seed. Seed left sitting too close to the surface dries out before the root can anchor into the soil. The correct planting depth for most grass seed varieties is between 1/4 and 1/2 inch, which is approximately 1 centimeter. After broadcasting the seed, a light raking with a standard leaf or bow rake draws seed down to the correct depth, while also distributing it slightly more evenly across the surface. The rake passes should be light enough to move seed without creating furrows. After raking, roll the seeded surface one final time with the same weighted roller used earlier. This press ensures that seed has consistent contact with the soil and removes any remaining air pockets under or around the seed. Seed that is pressed into firm contact with the soil germinates faster and at a higher percentage than seed that is loosely sitting on the surface. This final roll is a short step, but it meaningfully improves the uniformity of germination across the full seeded area. Rule 10. Water correctly. From day 1, watering new seed incorrectly is the single most common reason a well-prepared seedbed produces uneven or sparse germination. The germinating seed has no root system. It is entirely dependent on moisture in the top 1 to 2 inches of soil. If that surface layer dries out at any point after germination has begun, the emerging seedling dies and cannot be recovered. For the first 2 weeks after seeding, the surface needs to stay consistently moist throughout the day. In warm, sunny, or windy conditions, that requires light watering at least twice per day, in the morning and again in the early afternoon. The key word is light. You are maintaining surface moisture, not soaking the soil to depth. Use a sprinkler head or nozzle that produces a fine spray or mist that falls on the soil gently, similar to rainfall. A direct jet of water on bare seeded soil can displace seeds, create channels in the surface, and wash seed into uneven concentrations. After 2 weeks, when the seedlings are visibly established across the seeded area, shift to deeper and less frequent watering to push the developing root systems downward into the soil. The first mowing should wait until the grass reaches a height of 3 to 4 inches, and the mower blade should be set high enough to remove only the top third of the blade height. Cutting new grass too short in its first few weeks stresses the plant before the root system is deep enough to support recovery. Starting a new lawn from scratch is a project that rewards careful sequencing more than anything else. Every one of these 10 rules matters, and the rules work together as a system. Eliminating weeds before tilling protects the work you do after. Testing the soil before amending it ensures that what you add is actually what the soil needs. Tilling to the right depth, leveling carefully, fertilizing at the right stage, and rolling correctly all build the seedbed that makes germination fast and even. Choosing the right seed for your climate, seeding at the correct rate and depth, and watering consistently from day one, carry that work through to a finished lawn you can be proud of. Skip any of the 10 and the results reflect it. Follow all 10 in order, and the lawn you grow from bare ground will be the kind your neighbors ask you about. If this video gave you what you needed, please hit the like button, share it with someone planning the same project, and subscribe so you do not miss what comes next. And if you want the complete lawn care system, covering soil prep, seed timing by region, weed identification and treatment, fertilization schedules, and a full month-by-month maintenance calendar, it is all in the ebook linked right below this video. Everything you need to manage your lawn through every season is in one place, and the link is in the description.